are you doing? And it's like one of those movies that just comes up and it licks you. Because here's why. The greatest level of fear, and let's get that on the big screen, existed with the entities known as the Archons. An identity of the Archons has been one that has been hidden from this world, especially on any kind of level of knowing who they are visually. And this is because that the tradition of who is the Kagan, who is the Cohen, the Kagan is the one who speaks for any kind of kingdom, right? The one who brings forth the edicts and decrees, the bridges in language, right? Would need to be installed in order for the communications to reach forth throughout all lands. Meaning that what communication is a bridge. And that's why when you move to higher systems of communication, when you move into frequencies, when you move into sound, shape, color, when you paint, when you glyph, when you bring that form of communication into play, that is when you graduate yourself in a tense on the cogs of time in order to see things as they really are, like you're standing in front of it before you merge with it. Who is it? It's you. In the greatest stage of times, it shows that there were in fact extraterrestrials here. But this is now called extraterrestrial because the stage of consciousness of these beings is completely foreign to ours. Now, let's just say they chose more of the everything than most people. And that the male of that species had in itself a womb for an inception, meaning that it was known that through the ancient times that man had a womb, and that he, she, or whatever you want to term it as, shim or sham, could generate. Okay? And so this is a deeper level of knowledge that's been hidden because it's actually the power. And today we'd be addressing the males, but we could do it with the females next week when we get into the Mighty Pura chakra. Okay? So what you're seeing here is that the king, let me get that in here, Rex, chose to use its chakra, its world, its incubator to bring forth the diabolical one. Okay? So what you're witnessing here today is something that you'll never see until after today. And it's that the knowledge eventually led to another stage of being. And even as they say, well, Akhenaten had a larger stomach because he had some kind of genetic disorder. That's not what the ancient annals say. The ancient annals say that Akhenaten, who is a 10, meaning I'm a 10, I am a man and a woman, had a womb. And that these were different type of beings, more advanced type of beings. Okay? We're not necessarily saying more advanced than us, but we're saying sentient. But just remember, once again, that when you go into the Eastern tradition and you keep digging and digging and digging and digging, you'll get that there were other planets functioning and that there was one known as Zervan, who became known later as Saturn, who was also a Time Lord, but not just a Time Lord that just implodes, but had an explosion, meaning had a ship of some type. And that those in the retinue of that ship and the ones in which they were with, etc., did get involved in the planet Earth in its stages of metamorphosis. And that is the truth. And that's why they say Sat is the highest truth. The foundation to physical worlds. Okay? Where this knowledge of the cube, how the knowledge of the cube or the incubator passed into this world. Now think about it. I don't gotta go and show you pictures of Saturn's hexagonal pole, but there are stories that Saturn was once a sun. But here's the last part of the mystery. Okay? This is something that you will indeed never see. because it actually was copied out of a book that my mother gave me, and it was called The Treasures of Russia. I've tried to find this book on the internet, but it just so happens that it was a special edition from Peterhof, and it was sponsored by, I believe, Coca-Cola. And what they did was they went inside of the castles and they took images of things that were never photographed before, but they were part of the old aristocratic Tsar days of Russia. Now remember, I explained to you before that the first Tsar cult was ZAR in Sudan with the matriarch, and that those who later on became the founders of Rome took the knowledge and tried to make themselves Tsars just like the women. And that's why the judges began to wear dresses and all these different things where there was a cross in gender. And then that all of the Masons and these individuals in the highest stages believed in the hermaphrodite of Akhenaten, that man had another stage of his evolution that meant that he could have a womb if he had developed himself properly. And this became the story of the Immaculate Golden Lotus, or the story of the Immaculate conception within a man, okay? And so, again, I'm just giving you a major part of the bigger keys to the entire saga, okay? These are big pieces that fit into something that once you start connecting the whole thing, it equals entirely more than what I'm saying, especially once you get rid of your judgments. But what I'm also saying is that the sun actually became synonymous. The sun that we see in the sky, the Sham, became synonymous with being the serpent. While the inner sun of the world, in the core, the sun that's not really hot, the thing that this sun is actually a reflection of, was known as more of the benevolent force. And this is just when I'm explaining you what our ancestors seem to have discovered. And that this external sun reigned as king. And remember, this is all metaphor, but maybe on a deeper level does have to do with energies.
Yo.
Because what I noticed was, after we figured out that God was a weapon.
What's up? What you doing? Or you was listening to what I had on or no?
A little bit.
Yeah. So how's everything with you though? Good?
Yeah, I'm doing fine.
So, fuck, man, I just been fucking hanging out, you know what I'm saying? Just trying to find just fucking somebody to motherfucking talk to, you know, cause shit be just, man. I mean, life be so fucking, weird sometimes.
Stressful.
Yeah. I don't even want to say stressful because stressful is, I mean, you're right. But I try to, I just try to focus on it being more unstressful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, even though it's stressful, I want to, I try so hard to focus on, how do I make it so unstressful? That's why you hear me listening to the shit I'm listening to.
That's why my username is put it on all social media.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how I view life,
Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite word.
So what is your whole word? Distorted what? Just distorted?
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Distorted. So
It's what I take on life.
so what is it? So explain to me what it means to you though, distorted.
It means different. It means, I could put it into a real life example.
Alright, that sounds good.
Distorted, like,
Oh shit.
I don't know what I'm trying to say here.
I'm saying you say you're
I feel
gonna
like it has good meaning behind it.
like so what I got from it when you said different is like says who? Like what kind of different? Good different, bad different. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it all depends on how
Well,
you...
life is both, you know?
Exactly. You know, but where do you go to get these kind of conversations from? You know, if you don't have anyone, you go to where? Social media, maybe? Because if you are, well, you're in a lot of trouble. Because there's not a lot of
No,
help.
I was just scrolling through, you know?
Yeah. No, I'm talking about I'm just talking in general. I'm not talking to you. I'm saying like for myself. You know what I'm saying? Because whenever I talk to anybody, you know what I'm saying, whether it's you or 300 people, it's funny how it says 50 people right as I say 300 though. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see, that's a coincidence, right?
Yeah.
That's what I live for. That right there. Isn't that amazing?